Hi, I promised I'd come back and we would talk about cognitive behavioral techniques, or a thing called it's CBT, cognitive behavioral techniques. And what that is every one of us have core beliefs, right? And so there are a couple of techniques to kind of help us to be able to um, learn to cope better through using our brains, using techniques that require us to actually think. And so, one thing about all of us have our own like core beliefs about certain things. So, I'm going to give it a dysfunctional one, okay? The person that says, nobody likes me. And then they're convinced nobody likes them because they pick up the phone and they call and somebody doesn't pick up the phone, and so that proves that they're not liked, right? That's so when somebody comes into my office and they give that as an example, I will say, okay, so let's think of 5 other reasons why that is not true, that this person doesn't like you. And so then I'll say, well, they can't think of any. So I'll say, okay, so tell me about that person's life. Well, they have 3 jobs. Okay. You think that maybe they were at one of their jobs? Maybe that's why they didn't pick up the phone? Well, maybe. Okay. Give me another reason. Well, they have 3 kids. Okay. You think that maybe they were with the kids? Maybe something was going on. Maybe that's why. And we'll go on and we'll find a whole bunch of reasons that will be they did not pick up the phone because they didn't like you. It's because they are busy, and maybe they'd love to pick up the phone. Maybe they'd love to be hanging out with you, but they can't, right? So that's an example of how you fight a thought that's going through your head that comes from a core belief. So each of us now have core beliefs, and they're all different, every person, from dysfunctional core beliefs to mildly dysfunctional core beliefs to outright to just regular everyday, like just beliefs, and so they are at play in informing you how you're going to handle this whole situation, which is new. It's a new situation, and it is an assault on our lives, an unwanted thing that we didn't ask for, but that we all have to cope with in some way. So what core belief do you have that is driving you to have a thought that might be very dysfunctional that we can sit and try to refute here? So anything from the person that's getting married, right? And they have this big wedding planned in June or in May, and unfortunately, that's probably not going to take place. So if their core belief is everything always happens to me, and then this thing happens, and their thoughts are they're very disappointed, and they'll probably never get married, and I'll never get married now, or I'll never have a big wedding, or that kind of thing. Well, I would actually help them to refute that by saying these are other things that you can do, and you're not in it alone. And I would say, what other months do you think that maybe you think will be done in 6 months from now? And you can plan it then. There's a whole group of kids right now that are supposed to be graduating, whether it's from high school or college, and they're supposed to be graduating in May or June, right? And I know that a lot of them are struggling, and their parents are struggling because, well, it's very unsure as to whether they will. And so you can, if your core belief defines a thought connected to that is causing you pain, then let's go over and look at some of those other things that can help you to work through it. So one thing that can help you work through it is to realize you're not in it alone. There's lots and lots of people that have weddings that are going to probably have to be postponed. I have a Sweet 16 from my daughter, and it's postponed. And that's actually a very funny story because couple of, I guess maybe it was about 4 weeks ago, we went in to do the menu, and I said, well, so what happens if we're all quarantined by then? And she looked at me like I had 7 heads. And I texted her early this week. I said, I don't look like I have 7 heads now, do I? But the point is that, weddings and big events like that can can be postponed, You can also still get married, and still be married, and then have the big party later, when everybody's healthy to come. Um, the, the graduations, well, they can be postponed. Maybe everything will be okay by August. Maybe kids will come back from college in December, and you'll have it then, right? So when we look at those are just some examples, but some people are really struggling with a lot of anxiety now. So what is your core belief that is causing you to have this anxiety? And actually write down some of those feelings that you're having. Like in my first example of person had the core belief that very generalized feeling that nobody liked them. And then they said, see, I even called my friend and my friend didn't pick up the phone, but really she has, 3 kids and 3 jobs and a sick parent, right? So they didn't get to pick up the phone. They would probably love to. What's going on right now with you that's causing you to have an unhealthy feeling, an unhealthy thought that is driving unhealthy feelings? And how can we refute them, right? And that's basically what cognitive behavioral techniques do. They help you write them down, and after each one of the feelings that you're having that are negative, I want you to come up with at least 2 things that can refute that. Even if it's the opposite, the antithesis of what you usually believe, write it down anyway, because it is something that that can be true. It's a plausible or alternative theory, and we have to look at when we're trying to change our thoughts, because cognitive behavioral techniques basically change our thoughts, which drive our feelings. And once our thoughts get changed and we replace them with healthy thoughts, then our feelings also change. So this is one I'm giving you as homework. Write down any negative thoughts that you're having that are driving unhealthy feelings and refute them with 2 opposing thoughts that could be true, that could be healthy. It'll help you. All right, well, that's my tip for the day. Have a great day and accomplish something today. And try to stick to your routine and just have a great day. Bye.